It was the same as any other night. I was sitting on the sofa in my living room after a hard day's work, watching some Little House on the Prairie whilst I chow down on some chicken nuggets and drink away my sorrows with a few gallons of orange juice. I like it with just enough pulp to make you have to chew. That's where manhood comes from. A couple episodes in, just as Charles Ingalls was about to pull off his shirt for the 18th time, and I was finishing off another gallon of OJ, the telephone rang. And by telephone, I don't mean my iPhone. My iPhone was still sitting on the coffee table waiting for a friend to text me, or post on my wall, or tag me in a photo, or like my post, or anything really. Me and my iPhone have been waiting a few years for that now. The ringing continued. I stood up and paused shirtless Michael Landon. He was such a manly guy. I looked around wondering where my phone could be. Not that I had misplaced it or anything. I just never realized I had a home phone. I sprinted through the house, hoping to catch the mysterious telly before it quit ringing and slipped back into the void of which it came. I followed the repetitive ring into the back bathroom, the one I no longer used due to its enormous window beside the toilet. Miss McGregor, my neighbor, she always complained. I found a cordless telephone resting on the urinal beside the bathtub, which it wasn't as much a urinal as it was a flower pot, but it had always served the same purpose. Before answering the phone, I checked out for the number on the little green screen. It said toll-free. Typical. Those are the only calls I have, really, anymore. The only people I've had to talk to since my grandma passed away. She was always good to talk to, even if she was in a coma for all the years I knew her. She left me her trailer, though, which is where I live now. It's nice for a trailer, besides all the weird smells. It's better than living in the orphanage all my childhood, anyway.
Hello?
I finally answered the phone. I was pretty excited too. It had been a few months since anyone had reached out to talk to me, and that had only happened because I was petting their calico cat, which they said they were fine with that, just not okay with me being in their kitchen at night. The person on the other end of the line was silent. All I heard was static for 2 solid seconds.
I can see you. I can see everything.
I looked at the phone to make sure it wasn't FaceTiming. It indeed was not capable of face chat of any sort. What do you mean? I asked.
I am watching you.
This couldn't be a toll-free call. They always wanted to know my credit score or insurance. This was different. I looked out the window, but everything was dark outside. I thought I saw movement in the distance, but I couldn't really make it out.
Miss McGregor?
I can see you.
The person replied. I looked out the window again, but I couldn't see anyone, or much of anything really. My neighbor's lights were off, as they typically were by midnight.
I can't see you. Where are you?
You'll see me soon.
They replied. This definitely wasn't Miss McGregor.
Are you coming over?
I asked.
I can make some barbecue cinnamon buns.
The line was silent for a moment.
I'm already here.
I dropped the phone, and then I heard the front door open and shut on the other end of the house. This wasn't my hamster-loving neighbor, or an insurance salesman. Neither one of them ever wanted to come over anyway. No matter how many times I asked. I heard another door opening, and this one was closer. Whoever it was, they were moving this way. I can now hear footsteps. I dashed toward the window, planning on jumping out and running back to the orphanage. Maybe they would take me back, at least give me a job as a janitor or something. I was only a few years older than the other kids there anyway. I could pass for a 17-year-old if I waxed my face and wore a wig. That didn't work last time I tried that at the Sunday school though. I just wanted pretzels and Pepsi, but apparently it's only for high schoolers, and the 20-plus-year-olds have to sit in the auditorium and listen to an old creepy man talk about demons and the end of the world. I was halfway out the window when I remembered Charles. I had left him paused, shirtless, inside the DVD player. He was back there with the mysterious toll-free guy, back there in the living room, exposing his masculinity, his chest of hairy manliness, while that toll-free guy roams around freely, no telling what he'd do to my Charles Ingalls. Charles was all I had since my grandma passed away. Well, she wasn't actually my grandma. I'm pretty sure she was a grandma though, but then again she never told me. Well, she never told me anything, actually. I just found her here one day, shortly after I'd been thrown out of the orphanage, for reasons. Me and Grandma used to watch Little House on the Prairie every evening when I got back from work. It was our thing. That and having blinking contests, or Quiet Mouse. She was really good. There was no way I could leave Michael Landon DVD in there with that stalker guy. I jumped back in the trailer and pulled the plunger out of the unflushed toilet. That commode hadn't been flushed in like 8 months. I meant to unclog it, but I just forgot, I guess. I have a bad memory. I burst through the bathroom door and sprinted into the living room, waving my turd-plagued plunger high in the air. There was the toll-free guy, frozen in sheer shock, just 3 yards ahead of me. He was wearing all black with a hood and a weird white mask with the eye holes cut out. He had a knife in one hand and some freaking shears in the other. If he was looking for a sheep to shear, he was in the wrong field today. I didn't have time for his nonsense. I charged at him and plunged his face several times with my poopy potty lance. I was merciless with the plunger. I plunged his face until his face could no longer be plunged. There are many things in my life that I regret, but this isn't one of them. I did this for Grandma and Michael Landon. They would be proud of me if they were alive. Things all went back to normal after I hid the intruder's body in the hall closet with Grandma. I kept working hard every day, diving in dumpsters and random people's houses and churches, and then returning home and watching Little House. It's not much, but it's my life and I enjoy it.